Hi everyone, welcome back to SmugMug Live. This is episode 73 with your host, Alastair Jolly. Thank you so much for joining me today. As always, SmugMug Live is brought to you by SmugMug and Flickr. If you're looking for somewhere to share your images online, store your images in the cloud, have an incredible photo website, or have a super robust e-commerce solution, then check out everything we have to offer here at smugmug.com. Or if you're looking to be part of an incredible photo community and share your passion with others all around the world, then check out everything we have to offer at flickr.com. Thank you so much for joining. It's always a pleasure to be here with you and giving you some tips and tricks today. It's a tips and tricks episode here, no guest, just me today. So sit back, relax, and join me as we specifically look today at what we call private sharing, and indeed what we call client areas. It was actually the last tips and tricks episode I did. Somebody suggested that I give some insight into using the client area feature of SmugMug. So I'll go through some of that today. But as always, it's great to know who's joining me. I see some of you in the chat there already. So give yourself a shout out here in the chat window. That way I know there's somebody out there, which is always good. James Lafferty is joining us. Thanks, James. It's great to see you back here for another episode. You're very welcome. Hope things are well in California. John is joining us from Toronto. Thanks, John. You're welcome. And yeah, give yourselves a shout out. It's great to see the people joining us from all over the world. There's lots of you in there, so give yourself a shout out. Don't be shy. And of course, if you have any questions for me today, after I'm done giving a little insight into the private sharing features, then I'll try and find some time to answer some of your questions live here on the show. Do me a favor, start your question with the word question. I'll post this in the chat. Start your question with the word question dash. That way I can find it if there's a lot of chat going on there in the chat window if I scroll backwards. Randy is joining us. Hey. Nice to see you, Randy. And Caitlin is joining us from Texas. Hi, Caitlin. Bob has just joined us from New Jersey. You're welcome. Thank you, everybody, for joining me today. I apologize. I can't remember who it was a few weeks back when I was doing the tips and tricks episode who said, hey, do an episode on client area. So I can't do an episode about the client area without doing an episode about private sharing. And to demo today, I have a few sites open. So I'm going to head over to my website. And I have a demo site here. It's called Alastair Demo Site. So it's just a demo site that I use from time to time to play about with. You may have seen me use it before here on the show. And then behind that, I should have, let's see, another website, which is actually my main website that I'm logged into this one. So I'm going to show you what it looks like to set up private sharing and client area on this demo site, and then I'll show you what it looks like when someone else is viewing that as a client to see the images that you've photographed for them. So I'll be using both those sites today and jump between both of those, hopefully not get myself too tied up in a knot, but it will help us showcase how those features work. Ramez is joining us from Amman in Jordan. Hi Ramez, good to see you. Gina is joining us from Seattle. So welcome everybody. So sharing, one of the big features of SmugMug is sharing your images with friends, family, clients, all around the world once you get your images on SmugMug. And there's several privacy settings when it comes to the images that you upload to your SmugMug account. So let's head over to my demo account, and I'm going to first of all pop in here to the organizer. And while I'm in the organizer, I'm going to pick a gallery in this demo site and showcase the settings. So if over here there is the settings window, if I can click the right button. When you're in a gallery settings, under the security and sharing section, you have some choices about the visibility. So this visibility area allows you to choose how people are going to see or have access to the images that you upload in that specific gallery. So if I click the drop down, you will see that there are three choices: public, which means anybody can see your images, unlisted and private. So let me talk about those three choices. Public means anybody who goes to your site has the ability to see that gallery. If you have it posted on a page in a portfolio section, if you have given someone the URL that takes them to that gallery, or if you have a client section that has links to all your galleries, then any gallery that is public will show up there. And if someone clicks on that gallery, they'll get access to the gallery because it's completely public. You can, however, with the public gallery setting, also add the ability to add a password to that gallery. So as well, although it's public and they can find it on your site, they would need to know the password to get access to that gallery. The other setting I mentioned there is this one in the middle called unlisted, and that's anyone with the link. So what that means is if someone went to your portfolio page or client area, if a gallery was unlisted, it would not show in the options to click on the galleries within that page. It would never show up on your page as part of a list or group of thumbnails. It's completely unlisted on your site. However, if you share the link, the URL link with someone, then they just use that URL link to go straight to that gallery and they have access to it. And if you choose unlisted, you can also give that unlisted gallery a password. So they would need to know the URL of the unlisted gallery, and they would also then need to know the password to get into it. So kind of belts and braces on those two options. And then the third option I showed you there was private. And private means that only me as the owner of that SmugMug account can get access to that gallery. I can only see it when I'm logged in and in the organizer. It's like my archive. It's a completely private link. So those are the three choices when it comes to the settings for visibility within your galleries, and every gallery can have a different visibility. What I want to talk now about is our private sharing feature. Private sharing is our most robust, secure way of sharing images with a specific client. So not just a URL that anybody who has the URL can go to it, not just a public gallery where anybody could stumble across it or see it. Private sharing is a specific way to share a gallery with a unique person. So if we go back here to the site and I go back to my options, if I was to click unlisted or indeed public, I then have the ability to decide what access people have to that site. And as I mentioned earlier, it could be people with the password. So if I had given this site a password, anybody who had the link and had the password could get access to it. Private sharing is the next feature. It's called People I Choose. So only specific people that I give and grant access to that gallery can physically get into that gallery. If I click on People I Choose, I now have the ability to add up to 200 people to a list of people who I can invite to this gallery. It's a really robust way. So inviting people to that gallery, it means using their email address to send them an invite to that gallery. Now what happens is you put in their email address in that drop-down list. We send them an email saying they have been invited to a gallery. If they don't have a SmugMug site, they will be asked to create using the email that the email went to, using that email address that you put in there, they will have to create an email and a password for what we call a guest account. So it gives people access to the SmugMug system, but they have to log in using that email that you invited and they create their own password. I see some questions coming in, so I will get to those questions, and I also see people answering those questions, which is even better. Thank you to those of you that are helping out in the chat window there. I really do appreciate that. So I've clicked People I Choose, and now, as I mentioned, I can put in people's email addresses into this drop down here. Let me show you what that looks like for a gallery that already has it. So if I go over here in the organizer to the list of assets I have here in this account, you'll see here I have client galleries, which I'm going to use for private sharing. I have all my public galleries, so my portfolio images and other things for public access. I have an archive, which is a private account. So let me show you the difference in how some of these look. Here is a folder, and as you can see, it's just the folder icon. There's no other icon there. It's just that folder icon. Here's a gallery icon that shows that there are images in a gallery, but there's no other image there. It's just a public gallery. You can see here this archive folder. It has a tiny little padlock on it. That's a visual representation that that is a private folder. So that is just, that is a folder that has a password, so you would need a password to get access to that folder. And then this is the one I want to talk about today. This icon here has a little extra part, it has a little silhouette of a person. I know that this folder has been given private sharing access, so only people who I have invited can get access to this particular folder. Now, I've called that one Scottish Museum. I'm going to explain a kind of use case for private sharing in client area. Prior to my career at SmugMug, I was a full-time photographer for many, many years, more than I care to remember. And one of the sectors I worked in was museums. I had several big museums here in Scotland that I was their official photographer for, and I would photograph almost weekly at these museums, photographing everything from weddings to parties to award ceremonies, all types of ceremonies. Just people would rent the museum for big events, and I would photograph all those events and give those images to the museum to use in their marketing for the museum and for future event clients. But ultimately I had one client, which was the museum, who I constantly was giving images to. Every week I'd be giving them a new job to look at. And over the years, I gave them everything from, physical prints back in the day to licensing them the actual negatives. Then we moved digital and we started scanning images and digitizing images and putting things on CDs and then DVDs. Eventually, we gave them on USB sticks. But the best solution I ever had was supplying my images to those clients via SmugMug. Over the time, they would lose the old CD, or the DVD that had the specific image they wanted to use wouldn't work in the laptop or the computer that they were trying to use, and I was forever having to send new images to them. But when I moved to delivering those images via SmugMug, there was no issue. They could get access to those images anytime they want. And the way I did it with them was using private sharing. So if I click on this folder, this is just a representation of that type of client. In here, I'd maybe have some images from a wedding that I photographed in the venue. I have a gallery here that is commercial images, so some images of food that were taken for maybe one of the caterers or something at the event, or the caterers from the venues. But each of these galleries, you can see, has that little icon, that little silhouette of a person, which allows me to instantly know that those galleries are only available to people who I've given specific access to. So let's click on the Scottish Museum folder, and or let's click on one of the galleries. Let's click on this commercial gallery. Now, if I click on the settings tab here, I'll be able to go to the settings for that specific gallery. And if I go to the security and sharings tab, we'll zoom in here, you can see that one person has been granted access to that gallery. You can all email me. It's my junk email address, so don't worry about it too much. So earlier today, I granted myself access to this this gallery just so that you could see how that looks once you've given someone access to that gallery. Now, if I added hundreds here, there'd be a whole long list of all the people that I had invited to this gallery. Typically, it's going to be a handful of people for a specific client. that you want to share these with. And one of the great things is it says inherited here. That basically means it inherited the access from the main folder. So if I go back here, the main folder has the private sharing set up on the folder. So any gallery I put into that folder automatically inherits that private sharing. So again, it made it really easy for me to photograph a job, edit the job, put them in on a SmugMug gallery, and just drop that gallery into that folder, and it would automatically be set up as private sharing just for that unique client. So let me show you how you would do that. So let's go to the client galleries area. I'm going to hit create, and I'm going to create a new, let's create a new folder, and we'll call this one live demo, just to be really exotic. So I've created that folder. So you can see a folder here is called live demo, but there's no icon there. I've just made that a public folder. So what I need to do is go back to the settings for that folder and go to the share security and sharing feature. Click on unlisted so that nobody can find it on my site, and then go here to people I choose. And all I would have to do is put in an email address. So I'm just going to put in a test email address. Okay, so if I click save, that will have emailed that address to let them know that they've been invited to this folder or any galleries in that folder. And if I go now back to the settings for that folder, what you'll see here, if I go to sharing, is that nobody has accepted it yet. So if I add a new gallery, so let's create a gallery in this folder, and we'll call it client 1. Joe Schmidt says, is people I choose working now? I know for a long time it was not working. That's news to me. I use it all the time and demoing it today. So yes, private sharing is a very robust feature. And let's go to security and sharing. I don't actually need to choose that because this will inherit the private sharing from the folder. So if I go back in here, you'll see that within sharing, it has now inherited that. Let's double tap there. It's inherited people I choose from the folder. And here the email has been sent to SmugMug Test 1, but it's pending acceptance. So this means that the person I've emailed hasn't accepted that invite to view that gallery yet. Whereas on the one that was created earlier, if I go back here to this commercial one, just to show the difference, you'll see here that this person has access because they have accepted it. So that's the difference. Pending and has access. Pending means they haven't accepted yet. Has access means they can go in there and look at those images. Right. Let me see any more questions. No more questions at the moment. So that is really the very simple way to create these private sharing galleries. Very, very simple, just within the settings of the gallery. And then once the person has accepted that invite, created a login with that email address, they can go look at those galleries. And the great thing is, anybody who doesn't have that email address can't get access. So they have to receive that email, use that email address in order to get access to that gallery. And let's now have a little look at it. If we head over to this site. So this site here is my own website, but this is the one that I had invited previously to have a look at those images. Now, as the person logged into this guest account, they're not going to see all this customization. They're just going to have a basic access guest account. But if they click on their icon, their account settings up here at the top, and they click on this little tab here that says share with me, then they will see the galleries that you have shared with them. And in this case, it's the Scottish Museum one. So I know that has been shared with me via private sharing. Sorry, take a little drink while I read some of those questions. I'll get back to those questions. Thank you for posting those questions. I'll certainly get back to them once I'm finished this little demo. So there you go. They sign up for that from that email. They create a password and for their login. Then they go to images shared with me, and they can see all the images you've shared. And if I click on this folder, you will see it goes and gives them access to the commercial folder and the wedding so the commercial gallery and the wedding gallery that were in that folder that I showed you on the demo site. So very, very straight way to get images to a client, and depending on the settings that you've given the rest of that gallery, depends on what they can then do with that gallery once they've got it. So here I've allowed them to, if you look up here at the top right, they can download all those images. They can download the whole gallery, they can look at them, they can download straight from the Lightbox view. It's just a really, really nice way for a client to get their images delivered to them, rather than having a CD or a USB stick where they have no idea what's on it until they put it in the computer, and then they see a list of file names with a tiny little icon. Here they can look at all the images in a beautifully arranged gallery on SmugMug, and they have them until they need them. And at some point they say, okay, this one with the strawberries, we're going to use this in a marketing campaign or an email or on a brochure, whatever it is your client needs it for. And then they go hit download, and they download it right there and then for the use case that they need, rather than scrambling to find it on an old DVD or CD or USB stick that you sent to them many, many months before. And if I was to add another gallery to that folder, then they would see a third option here, fourth, fifth, sixth, how many you wish to add to that folder. They would receive them without you having to do much work, because they've already got the login, they've already got the password, you've set them up to receive anything that's in that folder. And then it's just a case of uploading to SmugMug to the right folder for the right client. So let's go back and have a little look at another feature which I mentioned right at the start, which was client area. So let's go back to the home page of this demo site. I know it's a demo site because it says it right here, Alastair's demo site. So one thing I want to draw your attention to the left-hand side here, where we have our navigation bar. We have home, portfolio, about me, and contact me. And yep, somebody asked on the last show, what about a client area? So that is a feature we have built into SmugMug, where you can create a landing area on your main website where clients can click on it and go right to the images that you have privately shared with them. So how it works. A client area is a single area that you create on your website for all your clients. It's the same link every time. The client has to have been given access to at least one gallery, so they have a private sharing login to a guest SmugMug account. So they log into their SmugMug with their email that you use to share with them, with the password that they set up. And then when they click on the client area, it will automatically take them to all the images that you have shared with them. And it's just one area on your navigation bar that all the clients can click on if you have multiple clients, because it knows who's logged in, it knows how they're logged in. So when they click on it, it only shows them the images that are theirs. So how does it work from a customization point of view? I'm going to head up here to the top right of the website and click on Customize. This will take us into the customizer of the website. I'm not going to worry too much that I'm hiding stuff at the bottom right here, because we don't really need to use too much down here today. For this scenario, I'm going to make sure in the navigation area I'm on entire site. Anything in red is on every page of my demo site, my entire site. So the header here, which is a logo content block. I have a left-hand sidebar with my navigation content block and my social icons content block. What I'm going to concentrate on is this navigation menu. So I'm going to click on the little settings icon to take me to the settings for my navigation bar. I'm going to click on links, and I'm going to add a new link, and I'm going to create a client area. So click on the plus button, and let's call it client area. You can call it whatever you want, but client area lets clients know where to go. And then where is this going to link to? So you can see here it says link to. And you could have a lot of choices here, but the one I'm going to use today is the one right at the very bottom. Sorry, this little drop down's not zooming in, but I'm going to click on client area. That's all I have to do. And if I already look over here on the left, it's already added a client area navigation item. And I just hit done. And then hit done again at the top right, hit publish now, and that will be live to the world, and everybody will be able to see that client area. Now, this is my demo site. I'm the owner of this site that I've just created the client area on. If I was to click on it, it would go to all the images that were shared with me from any other sources. But the main thing I want to draw your attention to is the URL at the top. So what a client area does is it appends the domain /client to your website. So a client could either use this URL, yourwebsite.com/client, and every time they type that into URL bar, they'll be taken to their client area. Or if they come to your website, they can click on the client area navigation bar. So now that I've set that up on my demo site, let me go across to the other site that had previously, where I'm logged in as me. I'm logged in as the client. Let's imagine this is your client's website. So I'm logged in here. So what I'm going to do is in the URL at the top, I'm going to click in the EMG show demo.smugmug.com / or just .com would be fine. And that will take me to my demo site, but this isn't me logged into the demo site. This is my client coming to my website. And now if they click on this client area, it takes them to the images that I had previously shared with them. So didn't have to click on their shared with me icon on their own guest account. They just went to your website, clicked on the client area, and saw the images that you had shared with them, all in your website, all with your branding, all with your customization and design. And if you have hundreds of clients, it doesn't matter. As long as they log in with their own login details, as soon as they click on that client area, they will be taken to the images and only the images that you have shared with them using private sharing. Okay, that was a lot to take in. If you want to digest that at your own speed, let's point out that we have a couple of help pages. We have a help page on the privacy settings and what private sharing is all about. So just search for that at smugmug.com. SmugMug, just search private sharing and you'll find that. And then we also have a help page about the client area, explaining just what I've explained to you there. Now, while I was talking there, I could hear lots of beeps as the questions come in. So forgive me while I scroll back through. Cap asks, is there a way to customize the client gallery email that gets sent? Unfortunately, not the email. Those are system emails. We don't allow any customization of system emails, unfortunately. So yeah, unfortunately, it's not customizable. John asks, let's see, can you in some way emphasize the download arrow? It's so small that a client may not see it. I had to explain with a screen grab to the client. Again, that's a system feature, not instantly customizable by yourselves, unfortunately, but I will feed that back to the team to try and see in future iterations if there's an opportunity to make that clear. That's a great point, John. There always is still some education that needs done of your clients. If you're creating a client area for some client, and hopefully you have a really good relationship with them and you're doing multiple jobs for them, and you will have to probably educate them a little bit on what access you're giving them, how they can download either an individual picture or a gallery, or what what usage rights you're giving them, all that type of thing. There still has to be a little bit of communication with your client, but it's a great point. We want to make things as intuitive as possible, so I will take that on board. Let's see. Groundhog 11ish, great name. With a guest account, I found very helpful to allow viewers to navigate to other galleries that I've shared with them via unlisted links. And as long as they signed in on the guest account, there's more, they can navigate to other galleries that I've shared with them on unlisted, I guess that is, and had them upload their photos. Using their guest login, they can leave comments on their photos and identify their photos. Yeah, there's lots and lots of ways to use this kind of client area or private sharing images. I've certainly demoed it today in the way of a commercial photographer, full-time photographer sharing images with a client. You could also do this with friends and family. So it's a very, very secure way to share images with your family and get them to add comments to those galleries. So if you go into, let me go back to the site here and get back to my demo site. If you go to the settings of your gallery, so let's go back here to this commercial gallery. If I was to go into the settings here of this gallery, there are lots of things I could do. And for instance, if I clicked on the social tab, and in this gallery actually was set up, I could allow comments on those images. So under each image, people could leave comments about that photograph. And it's a great way for feedback on that image, feedback either from the client, but if it's friends and family you're doing that with, it's potentially a great way to crowdsource information, to maybe look at, family legacy photographs, family tree photographs. I've been scanning last year a lot of our family archive, and I've been sharing that with friends and family to allow them to leave their own comments. And, it's a great way to get that information. Groundhog 11ish says, I manage this for a couple of clubs. I wish there was another way they could add content to the photos. This is the only workaround I could find. So adding content to the photos, we don't give people direct access to the photo to add anything as far as keywording or metadata. But with the guest upload feature, let's go back to the site. Within the security and settings tab, let's see if I can zoom in a little bit here. We also have this guest upload feature. That guest upload feature creates a URL link that if you shared that with the people that have the private access, they could also upload images to that gallery. So you could not only crowdsource information, you could actually crowdsource physical images if you shared that with a group of people. But we don't let people add content to the photograph. They can only really leave comments underneath the photograph. Let's see what else there is here. Groundhog is apologising for all the comments, but that's okay, that's why I'm here. Let's see if I can read these in order. We need to keep the galleries available as unlisted to not logged in members, so that's why I do it this way. Looking forward to a simpler way if it ever comes around. Groundhog 11ish, I would love it if you would send me an email actually just outlining this use case a bit more specifically. It would be great to hear your specific use case. We're always interested to hear those use cases of our customers to see if there's anything we haven't thought of in the way that you're using it. Reach out, let us know. You can reach us at help@smugmug.com. Just put it for the attention of Alastair if you want to get me directly. And I'd love to hear your specific use case. There was a lot in there to go through on a live stream, Groundhog 11ish, but I would love to hear it specifically. One last thing I want to show you as far as the private sharing goes is I've shown you how to give someone access to a gallery. What I want to show is how you can revoke access to that gallery. So if you go to your account settings, and hopefully you'll all be familiar with your account settings if you have an account. Down here at the very bottom, we have a contacts tab. And if you click on that contacts tab, you'll see all the people that you have given access to galleries via private sharing. Here you can see is the one that we shared to that commercial gallery, which is one of my dummy accounts. And here's the other one, which we just did today, the SmugMug test one. So I could simply go in here and delete that account, and that person would no longer have access to the private sharing. I have revoked their access to that sharing feature. Why would you want to do that? Well, there's lots of reasons I can think of doing that. The use case that I had mentioned earlier with my client at the museum, the client was the museum itself, not necessarily the people I was dealing with in the various departments there. So it would be quite regular that these people would move on or change departments or move to a different job, and it was very easy for the client to say to me, hey, that person's no longer here, or I might be aware that that person's no longer there, and I could just go in here, revoke their access so that they can't get access to it anymore, or find out who should be getting access to that gallery and put in that new email address, and therefore they could set up their guest account and log in as the rightful owner to those images and have a look at them. And then with, all sorts of use cases, maybe it's a temporary site that you're creating for someone, like the clubs you were talking about. It's maybe a temporary basis that you want to give them access. You can go in and delete that once you've done all the stuff that you want to do with them. And I need some tea because I've been talking too much. Right, let's see who else is in there. Get your questions in, folk. We've maybe got another 5 minutes or so here before I'm done talking for the day. Cap says, awesome, thank you so much. I'm the one who had asked to cover this topic. Oh, awesome. Thank you, Cap. Apologies for not recognizing your name. I knew someone had asked to talk about this topic, so hopefully you found that all helpful. The client area is actually the easiest part of the whole thing. The client area is literally just adding that tab to the navigation bar. As simple as that. The kind of, the complicated bit, if you want to call it that, the logic behind that client area is all about the private sharing feature, giving people access using private sharing. That's, the foundation of everything when it comes to the client area. So thank you for joining today. I'm glad it was of interest to you. Groundhog 11ish is back saying, will do. Thank you so much. Yes, it's beefy. Grateful for your ear. You're very welcome. We'll try to get the right email. Yeah, just send it to help@smugmug.com and just mark it for the attention of Alastair Jolly. My name's right here below me. And that email will find its way to you or to me, and I'll have a bit longer to digest everything that were asking me today. Right, last call for questions. Please, if you have anything to ask, this is your last call. Thank you to those that have been joining. Before I have another check of the questions, I will ask you to do me a favour. Hit that subscribe button here on the YouTube channel. Hit that bell notification. That way you'll be notified about any episode we release here on SmugMug Live or on SmugMug Films. Please go check out all the incredible SmugMug films we have here in our playlist, featuring incredible stories of our favourite photographers around the world, including our latest one, which is Jay Ford, My Camera, My Voice, an incredible film that we released just a few weeks ago. And yeah, you can look back through 73 episodes of SmugMug Live. There's lots of great things to get, great content and great inspiration from photographers from all over the world. Martin, let's see if you have a question. I haven't been able to get my domain name to work on SmugMug. Any pointers? Sorry, a bit late to the party. Never too late, Martin. You're more than welcome to be here. Domain names, not something I can probably help with here on a live show. I would say if and this goes for everybody who's watching, if you ever have any problems with anything to do with your SmugMug account, the best solution is obviously to try and find a solution in our help pages. But if you can't, then just reach out to help@smugmug.com, just the word help@smugmug.com. That will go to our customer support team. We call them our heroes. Some of you may have spoke to our heroes before. Super responsive on that system. They are available to you 24 hours a day. We have our own staff based around the world to cover all our different time zones here in Europe and across America. And they are the smartest people at our company. They are the most technical people I know, have incredible knowledge about our product. I love our hero team, and they will point you in the right directions to do that. Domain names, obviously, it's not just SmugMug. There's a domain name registry that has to be involved, and it's mostly around changing the CNAME record at your domain name registry. And the heroes will point you in the direction of all the right information that you have to put there in your CNAME records. Sorry you're having difficulty with that. It's normally fairly straightforward. The only thing you have to do on your SmugMug site, I'll actually jump back to my demo account. If you go to your account settings, once you have set up your CNAME record, then you have to enter your custom domain name down here in this field. If you enter your custom domain name here and it's not set up right on your domain name registry, then it'll probably tell you here that there's an error, and that's maybe what you're experiencing, Martin. But certainly it needs to be the correct details put into your CNAME record. There's a help document about that, but I'm sure you've probably been through that before. So I would reach out to our help team, our customer hero team, see if they can do that. John's given a shout out to the heroes. SmugMug heroes are very prompt in answering. Good job. Yeah, we're very, very proud of our customer service at SmugMug and Flickr with the incredible hero teams that we have. Some information there from Randy. Yep. Create your CNAME. Then create your forward link, then put the domain name in the account settings, as I've just shown you. That really is all that's needed. The hardest part is the CNAME record, although it's not particularly difficult. Some domain name registrars make it more difficult than others. That's all I'll say. Some make it very, very simple, like GoDaddy. Others make it a little bit more complicated to point the domain at a site that's not hosted by them sometimes. So there may be something the heroes could help you with. Okay, I have spoken for 45 minutes, hopefully answered all your questions. Thank you so much for joining me today. I love catching up with you. Randy sneaked one in there. How do you suggest a topic? Right here in the chat window, Randy. Just put that topic here and I will see it, and hopefully it makes sense for a live show. Not everything can be a live show. Some things are require a little bit more work than is capable in a live show, but hopefully most of the things that you would suggest I can talk about. And then what else do we have? Yes, coming up this week on Thursday, I have another SmugMug Live episode at 11 a.m. Pacific on Thursday, the 4th of March. When I'll be joined by another guest, Jeremy Allen from the Full-Time Hobby, an incredible adventure sport photographer from Canada, is joining me here on Thursday. We'll be talking about his work, how he got into the business, the type of work he shoots, and we'll be looking at some of his incredible photos. So join me back here on Thursday. And remember, hit that subscribe button, hit that little bell notification. It really supports everything we do here at SmugMug Live. Make sure that lots of people get to see this show, and make sure that you're notified about all these new shows coming up. Thank you so much, everybody. I thoroughly enjoy all your questions. Hopefully you've enjoyed learning a little bit more about private sharing and the client area. And I look forward to your suggestions in the chat window, and I look forward to seeing you back here on Thursday for the next episode of SmugMug Live. Wherever you are in the world, look after each other, be kind, be safe, and I'll see you back here on Thursday for another episode of SmugMug Live. Thanks, everybody. Take care.